picking on you. I don't know if anyone else is. Energy is a major issue, probably the major issue facing us in this nation and in this state. And there's many parts to it. As a start, in this nation, we're 50% coal dependent. In this region, we're 75% coal dependent. I actually worked with solar energy in Africa 30 years ago. Some of these applications, the natural gas, they've been proven. But you've got a lot of people that have been pushing fossil fuels for years and years. And it goes back to the 70s when we had the first oil crises. Carter responded, however adequately or inadequately, but he set up the National Renewable Energy Labs down right outside of Denver. And in short order, 1,000 people were employed, scientists, to look into the future and to come up with renewable alternatives to fossil fuel. In comes Reagan, slashes that in half, and we just continue to dig more and more oil, drill, drill, drill. In comes the first Bush, and he saw some sanity in trying to restore it. He brought it back up. And then, Clinton kind of went back and forth on it. And the most recent Bush has been totally oil-driven. But you can't have fluctuations like that over time in government, at the federal level or at the state level. If you're going to have a comprehensive approach to energy development, you've got to do it all. You've got to have clean coal out here. Yes, indeed. We need to convert to natural gas and wind, but it is going to be costly. T. Boone Pickens, he'll be asking for subsidies for transmission lines and everything else. That's a reality. There isn't a free way out of this. But we've got to do it all. We've got to continue to clean up our coal resources. Black Hills Power has the cleanest coal plant in the world. Just opened Wyandotte 2 just earlier this spring. And now the Chinese are looking at the technology because their environment's so polluted. So that's a way to go. You need to have all of it. You need to have hydro, you need to have electricity generated from solar, you need wind power, but it's got to be comprehensive and it's got to be put all together. And in the end, the federal government has to step forward, but we at the state level can indeed start pushing the feds. That's how federal legislation always goes, and work on some of these issues. And unfortunately, we haven't done enough yet in South Dakota to diversify our energy. I sit on the health committee and we reviewed this particular issue. And I pointed out that every physician or every pharmacist has a right to their conscience. It's called conscientious objection. And if you want to take that stance, then you should also be prepared to pay whatever the penalty is. What they were attempting to get through was legislation that would waive them from having any obligation. And there's a case actually up in Elseda, or not Elseda, another little town up further in Montana. And there was one pharmacist there who was refusing to fill pharmaceuticals based on his personal faith. And therefore, that small community was not getting adequately served because he was the only one there. There wasn't an easy access anywhere near. And I think it goes back to the Hippocratic Oath. I don't know if pharmacists take this. I asked in committee if they did, and no one knew for sure. They fumbled around and finally found something equivalent to it. But I think if you are a professional, whether you're a doctor or a pharmacist, and you take that oath, then you should abide by it. Privileged to sit on the governor's DIA task force last summer. This was supposed to be a comprehensive review of health insurance to enable us to reach all our citizens. And the governor appointed a gigantic task force, about 50 people. And when he started the whole session out, he said we should remember, like doctors, do no harm. So there were people on the sidelines already snickering to the insurance companies. And unfortunately, throughout that process, we had many meetings. We had the consultant from Governor Romney's staff who helped put together the first comprehensive health insurance program in the United States. When we got to a very critical decision towards the end, we worked in 4 different subcommittees. I happen to be assigned to the IHS, the Indian Health Service Subcommittee, because a lot of our Native folks receive inadequate support through that, and it impacts regional hospital that eats about 13% a year just on indigent care. So that's a tough issue. But when we got down to the bottom line, the governor's own insurance commissioner, who set up that subcommittee, had a proposal that we fund access to insurance for all, much as we do our driver's license, our driver's insurance. I didn't even know this. We do not require driver's insurance in South Dakota, but we do require responsibility for an accident, and therefore we have about a 90% coverage. And he proposed the same concept, that we should all as citizens have an obligation, all of us, every one of us, poor, rich, whatever, to enroll in an expanded statewide system and be responsible for the cost, or have insurance to do it. In that final vote, that got shot down by on the governor's instructions because he said it was a mandate. The Republican and Democratic legislators, Senator Dempster, good friend of Senator Edelstein's, good friend of mine, and Representative Dykstra, all the legislators, Republicans and Democrats alike, voted for that because it was a critical piece. Without that, you could not reform the system in South Dakota. We're a very small state. We had to have everyone engaged. And it got shot down, and we tried it the second time. And Senator Dempster finally got a passive resolution through saying, well, we should consider this. When I challenged the consultant, and I have no idea how much we paid this woman, I'm sure $50,000 to $100,000, I said, what did you do in Massachusetts? And the best she would answer was, well, that's the last thing we addressed. I was so irritated that a professional we had hired, a national professional, would not stick her neck out any further than that because she was being paid out of the governor's office. It's a darn shame. We had a chance to do it, and we blew it. And we need to go forward in the future to take another look at it, but we spent a whole summer on it. A lot of folks put a lot of effort into it. And then because it was regarded as close, a mandate was pulled off the table for the 12th hour.